Hey guys, Travis Daggett, Forefront Enterprises. Wanted to talk about how much you should offer. A lot of times when people are starting out, they really don't know how much to offer. They know they don't want to offer too much, and maybe they're afraid of offering too little. Of course, you've probably heard this from a number of people. If you're not embarrassed by your first offer, you're probably offering too much. Another true statement is if they accept your first offer, you're probably offering too much. So, one of the ways that you make money as a real estate investor is to buy right, to buy the right way. And you may have heard the saying, you buy or you make your money when you buy, not when you sell. And that's really true. It's really a lot harder to go wrong in real estate investing when you buy a property at 20, 30, 40, 50 cents on the dollar than if you're buying at 60, 70, 80, 90% of market value. That's tough when you're buying that high. So one of the best things you can do is determine your offer amount. Now there's a couple different ways of thinking about how much to offer and making offers in that whole process. In fact, one of the best explanations of it comes from Gary Keller. You may recognize his name, Keller Williams. In fact, I have one of his books right here. One of my favorite books. You can tell it looks like it's been, I don't know, rain and all kinds of stuff. In fact, I think it was in my briefcase for quite a while. But I read it. Looks like a dog chewed on it too. Great book, and he talks about there's two ways you can do it. One is you can set your filter up on the front of your offer process, or you can set it up on the back. And here's what I mean. You can either do your due diligence before you make offers and make fewer offers because you're spending your time up front and really weeding out the deals and making an accurate offer. Or you can do your due diligence and your filtering on the back. And what he means by that is you make a whole bunch of offers, and of course very low offers, and then once you get a counter, then you start your due diligence, and of course once you get acceptance, then you really crank up your due diligence. So two different ways you can do it. One's not right or wrong necessarily, it's just that there's different circumstances for different ones. So the way I think about it, and the way we like to do it, is if you have a relationship with an agent and you're making offers through an agent, that's probably the situation where you want to do your due diligence before you make an offer. You want to set your filter up and put your time in before you make the offer. Because most agents aren't going to want to put in dozens and dozens, hundreds of lowball offers for you. And there are a few of those rare agents, but not most of the time. So when you're making those offers and you're doing your due diligence beforehand, critical factors. First of all, you need to look at your ARV, your after repaired value. Very important. That's what, based on comparable sales of properties like that in that area, you think you're going to be able to sell it for, or what do you think it's worth? Now, ARV, the most accurate ARV comes from an ARV appraisal. An appraisal that's done what the house is worth subject to the repairs. Which brings us to the repairs. Now, actually one more thing on comps, or a CMA, a comparative market analysis. Best way to do this, if you're not licensed, is to have an agent do it for you, and we don't pay for them. We just use agents that we have a relationship with to do that because they're pulling off the MLS. Okay, so on to repairs. Now, we always get an idea of repairs, and in fact, we like to get 3 repair estimates on our properties. So that'll give us a good idea of what repairs are actually needed. Now, we may not actually do the repairs. Our end user buyer may actually be the ones doing the repairs, but still important. That's how you know how much repairs are going to be needed to arrive at your ARV, your after repaired value. Another important factor to look at when you're doing your due diligence, how much will it rent for? Again, you may not be renting it out, but your end user buyer may. So you need to think about not just what you're going to use, but your end user buyer. The easier you can make it for your buyer to buy from you, the more work you've done, the easier it is to find a buyer, especially if you want to find an out of the area buyer. And really, that's where your business loses the borders. You can really find a lot of cash buyers if you're not restricted by a certain geography. So the rent is a good factor. That could also influence if someone's doing a lease option or seller financing it. Profit, you need to determine how much profit you want in the deal. Our typical wholesale profit is $12,000. Maybe you're just starting and maybe it's $5,000 or $10,000, or maybe you need a higher profit. So you need to build your profit in. A lot of times people leave that out, and it's hard to stay in business without making a profit. And then the last factor to consider is your exit strategy. The offer amount that you can make is different if you're wholesaling, if you're fix and flipping, if you're lease optioning or seller financing. Boy, it just goes on and on. Could be a wrap, could be subject to, short sale, whatever it is. So that determines your offer amount. Now, if you are doing that after the fact, if you want to just blast out a whole bunch of offers, then you're basically going to be making offers as a percentage base. So you're going to set your initial offer at 20%, 30%, 40, 50, whatever you're going to set it at. And then you're just blasting those offers out, and there's a lot of different ways you can do that. There's software called Offer Blaster Pro. You can use a virtual assistant to do that. You can do it yourself, although that's tough. That takes a lot of time. And then you really only do the rest of that due diligence once you get a counter. And so that's another way to do it. I would use that with sellers that have an automated bid process where you don't really have a human on the other end, where you're going to make them mad. So HUD is a great one for that, because HUD bidding begins and ends at midnight every day, and you can submit those bids, and nobody's going to get mad at you for submitting those low bids. I shouldn't say nobody. You might get a few people, but they're just going to say nothing. They're going to counter, or they're going to accept, and that's pretty much it. Now, if you're doing something like Fannie, a little different, a little more. There's actually an agent on the other end, so that's a little different. Hope that helps, guys, as far as how much you should offer. Any more questions? Just let me know. Shoot an email, travis@forefrontenterprisesllc.com. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out our website. Thanks.